Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Let's begin with this morning's headlines. Prime Minister to address his fourth NDA rally in Bihar. Narendra Modi's Bhagalpur rally today after Sonia's Bihar pitch 2 days ago. Round 2 of the Patel agitation to begin in Surat today. Hardik Patel to initiate a signature campaign of 27 crore Patels, Gujjars and Kurmis to press for reservation. Law Commission recommends abolition of death penalty in all except terror cases. 3 members dissent from the report. French Defence Minister to arrive in India. Government framework agreement on Rafale deal likely to be signed. And India are just 7 wickets away from a series win against Sri Lanka in Colombo. Men in blue aim for a first Test series win in Lanka in 22 years. Our top focus on the bulletin this morning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address a rally in Bhagalpur in Bihar in the afternoon today. This will be Modi's fourth Parivartan rally in poll-bound Bihar, where the election battle is fierce between the NDA and Nitish Kumar and his allies, which include the Congress and the Rashtriya Janata Dal. The BJP has partial presence in Bhagalpur district, where in the 2014 assembly by-elections in August last year, the party lost the seat to the Congress. The Prime Minister's rally comes 2 days after a show of strength by the opposition, with Congress President Sonia Gandhi sharing the stage with Nitish Kumar and Lalu Prasad Yadav. The 3 leaders attacked the Prime Minister over his policies and his DNA remark. Like Modi's previous rallies in the state, a large gathering is expected at the rally. The Prime Minister is expected to dwell on the political content, interspersing in it with the announcements regarding special package. Modi had addressed his first rally at Bhagalpur during the 2014 general election as the BJP's prime ministerial candidate then. Meanwhile, NDA allies have been unable to reach a seat-sharing agreement for the upcoming Bihar Assembly polls. The leaders met at BJP President Amit Shah's residence in New Delhi on Monday. Denying divisions within the alliance, the parties are confident of getting a majority in the Bihar Assembly elections. Here's more.
A meeting between NDA allies at BJP President Amit Shah's residence did not throw up a seat-sharing agreement. However, the allies tried to put up a united face. LJP leader and Union Cabinet Minister Ram Vilas Paswan in fact said that a decision will be made within the week.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी हम लोगों के एनडीए के नेता हैं. प्रधानमंत्री जी ABCDEFGHIJKLMNOP जिसको क्या कहते हैं कि बना देंगे, हम मोहर मार देंगे.
Claiming that the alliance will get a full majority in Bihar, Rashtriya Lok Samata Party President Upendra Kushwaha and Hindustan Awam Morcha Chief Jitan Ram Manjhi also said there will be a decision soon.
हम लोगों का एक ही मकसद है, एनडीए कैसे 243 जगह जीते, क्योंकि एनडीए अच्छा बहुमत के साथ जीतेगा तो हम ठीक से सरकार चला पाएंगे. तो अभी मकसद हम लोगों का यही है, बाकी बातों पर ध्यान देने की जरूरत नहीं.
जैसे डेट अनाउंस होगा उसके पहले सीट शेयरिंग का मामला तय हो जाएगा. हमारे एनडीए में सीट शेयरिंग का कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है.
The NDA leaders were also critical of the RJD-JDU Congress combined, saying the turnout at their rally was proof enough that people of Bihar wanted change.
कल की रैली में ना कोई ताली बजा रहा था, ना कोई उत्साह था, ना कोई उमंग थी. लेकिन नरेंद्र मोदी की रैली में जो उत्साह उमंग है, एक बदलाव और परिवर्तन का लोगों ने मन बना लिया है और सभी हमारे गठबंधन के सहयोगी दल मिलजुल कर चुनाव लड़ेंगे.
In the meeting, the allies also decided to avoid mudslinging among themselves. With inputs from Pranav Goswami, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Joining me for a chat this morning to talk about this is senior journalist Saroj Nagi. Very good morning. Thank you for joining me on the program. You know, as far as the seat sharing is concerned, the Grand Alliance has already decided on their seats. NDA seems to be in a bit of bother at the moment as far as seat sharing is concerned. The leaders are denying that there is any conflict, but do you think that there is a conflict, there is a sticking point as far as seat sharing is concerned?
I think that happens with any seat sharing talks. Initially, a lot of parties which are part of an alliance, they flex their muscles, demanding the highest possible share of seats that they can get. But that's more like a bargaining chip. And then you level off in your talks and you come down to a certain level, which satisfies both sides. So I think this was among the major talks that the NDA allies were holding for the first time since the impending Bihar elections are expected to happen sometime in October, November. So I think the seat sharing talks, as they said, will be finalized within a week, and it's inevitable. They are bound to come together because, as they say, divided you fall and united you have a chance of succeeding.
Indeed.
So in this case, I think what the problem is that BJP is the major alliance in this combined where the NDA is concerned. So BJP obviously will contest more. But the others want also a respectable share because in caste politics in Bihar, if BJP wants certain community votes to come to it, to be represented by Paswan or Kushwaha or Jiten Ram Manji, it has to give a certain number of seats to them in order to attract those voters to its side. It cannot win on its own.
Indeed.
So I think the bottom line will be that you have to give them a certain number of seats, which I think BJP will contest. I mean, as reports go, around 160 to 165, leaving the rest to the others. So that would give about 25 to 30 about 40 to Paswan's party, about 25 to 30 to Kushwaha's, and the rest to Jiten Maji and Papu Yadav, who's also on the sidelines. But I think no matter how the seat distribution is worked out, the point is that it is going to be a very intense contest in Bihar this time.
It is going to be an intense contest, and we're already seeing, what it's going to be like, because the rallies are quite vociferous, the rallies, and there are barbs and counter-barbs being made. And it remains to be seen what Narendra Modi's rally in Bhagalpur is going to be like today. He's definitely going to answer Sonia Gandhi, Lalu Prasad Yadav, and the Chief Minister for what they said a couple of days ago, isn't he?
Oh, of course. And I think politicians love taking a jibe at each other. And Modi is not one to spare the others also, just as Lalu is not the one to spare anybody, for that matter, who he considers his enemy. Similarly, Modi is in the same mold, gives it back as good as he gets. I mean, there's no finesse about his attack. As it is in the case of Nitish Kumar. He has a certain finesse. But I think Bihar elections are also very important because you have certain new entrants in the fray. And this includes Owaisi.
Yes.
His party is going to contest about 25 or 30 seats, and he would try to emerge as a face of the Muslims in the state. And if it takes away certain votes, it's going to hurt, of course, the Grand Alliance, the Mahagathbandhan, as they call themselves, because Lalu and Nitish are banking on the Muslim, Yadav, and the most backward votes. So I think if he makes a dent there, it'll hurt the Grand Alliance and make the contest even more intense.
Indeed, it will make the contest even more intense. But what do you think are going to be the factors on the ground, really? Is it going to be some of the issues, the localized issues that are going to play a major role in these polls, or is it going to be some of the other issues, like, for that matter, corruption or a clean government is something that the BJP is pitching for and is talking about in their rallies as well?
I think it's going to be a combination of factors because we have, there are about 3.8 crore new voters in the state, in Bihar. So this is an aspirational class, which wants certain benefits for itself, which wants to progress in life, which wants a better lifestyle. So you'll have a combination of factors. You'll have people looking for development, good governance. They'll be looking for caste alliances also, and they'll be looking at who's going to represent them, who they can look up to. So in that case, that is where Modi, what he had promised earlier, was he able to deliver? These questions are going to be asked in the 18 months. Was he able to deliver what he had promised in the Lok Sabha elections? And Nitish Kumar, insofar as his promise of good governance and development is concerned, there would be worry how much is it going to be undermined by his alliance with Lalu Yadav.
Indeed.
And here I think another factor which most reports are overlooking is the fact that, because Lalu's regime represented a Jungle Raj, which of course the BJP is playing up to the hilt right now as Jungle Raj 2. And Lalu is trying to counter it by saying, no, it's not going to be Jungle Raj, it's going to be Mandal Raj 2, where the OBCs are going to come up. But I think a major factor in these elections are also going to be the women voters. Because if you remember, when Nitish contested, he wooed the women voters considerably because they were the victims of the Jungle Raj of Bihar. And they voted for Nitish because they saw him as a representative, as a person who would bail them out of that jungle Raj. So Nitish's tie-up with Lalu, how is it going to affect the women voters remains to be seen, because they had voted overwhelmingly for Nitish Kumar in the two previous assembly elections. So that there's going to be a question mark about that and the impact of the alliance of Nitish Kumar and Lalu on the women voters. Insofar as Nitish and Lalu themselves are concerned, there's of course a tie-up at the leadership level, but whether it percolates down at the ground level also remains to be seen, because for 17 years you've fought against each other. And, you know, whether it's going to gel at the ground level, whether Lalu will transfer his votes to Nitish Kumar also remains to be seen.
Indeed.
Insofar as Modi is concerned, I think as his opposition is playing up, he's not lived up to his promise. He promised black money, 15 lakhs in each account, and he's being held up to his words right now that he hasn't really done anything about it.
Right.
So these are going to be the factors, and so whoever's able to project himself as a deliverer of good governance, as a person who can represent the caste alliance, as a person who can include all social sections, I think there the die would be cast.
Indeed. All right. We'll have to leave it at that, Saroj Nagi. Thank you for so much for joining us on the program this morning. All in all, it's going to be an interesting battle in Bihar.
Absolutely. From a no contest, it's become an intense contest. Because on paper, the Grand Alliance seems to have an edge.
Yes. An intense battle is what our expert here is predicting. And moving on now, of course, the second round of the Patel agitation seeking reservation will begin today from Surat. After last week's large-scale violence in Gujarat following the August 25th rally organized by Patel leader Hardik Patel, security is a cause of concern. Hardik Patel has claimed the support of several organizations and has said that he plans to begin a signature campaign for his cause. Here's more.
After holding the attention of the entire nation with his Ahmedabad rally last week, Hardik Patel, the convener of the Patidar Anamat Andolan Samiti or PAS, will be organizing his second round of agitation from Surat today. The success of his first round of stir for reservation for the Patel community was evident in the violence that followed across the state of Gujarat following his brief detention. He now plans to make it a pan-India protest.
बहुत जल्द लखनऊ में एक महारैली का आयोजन करने का सोच रहे हैं। जंतर मंतर पर भी यहाँ पर पूरे हिंदुस्तान के पटेलों को बुलाएंगे और जो हक की लड़ाई है उसे सक्सेस करने आया है। पूरे गुजरात में तो हुआ है, अब पूरे हिंदुस्तान में ले जाना है।
Hardik Patel also met Gujar and Jat leaders to drum up support for demand for quota.
महत्वपूर्ण बात यह है कि किसी पॉलिटिशियन या किसी पार्टी का विरोध कर ये आरक्षण की मांग नहीं है, हमारे समाज के लिए मांग है। जो समानता है, बात करते हैं सबका साथ सबका विकास देश में, तो सब साथ में रहना चाहिए। एसटी एससी ओबीसी सब साथ में बैठो।
There are concerns over security after last week's widespread violence in Gujarat that claimed 10 lives. Hardik Patel has accused the Gujarat government and the police for the deaths. The Prime Minister too had expressed shock over the violence and appealed for calm. Hardik Patel now plans a signature campaign of the 27 crore population of Patels, Gujars and Kurmis in the country. He plans to then hand over an application seeking reservation for these communities to the Prime Minister. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, at a time when India is debating the complex issue of whether to abolish capital punishment, the Law Commission has recommended the government to go for a blanket ban except in cases of terror. The Commission argues that death penalty is no longer serving as a deterrent and is constitutionally unsustainable. There is, however, dissent within the 9-member panel. Here's more.
Death penalty, even in the rarest of rare cases, is constitutionally unsustainable. This is what the Law Commission of India told the government on Monday, recommending a swift abolition of capital punishment except in terror cases.
Commission has given its 262nd report on the death penalty, and the recommendation is that death penalty should be abolished ultimately, and as a first step there should be abolition of the death penalty for the offences other than terror-related offences, offence of waging war against India.
In its report, the 9-member panel notes that death penalty does not serve as a deterrent any more than life imprisonment.
Continued administration of death penalty asks very difficult constitutional questions of the court system and the instrumentalities of the state, including the institution of the President of India and the governors. These questions relate to the miscarriage of justice, errors, as well as the plight of the poor and disenfranchised in the criminal justice system. We at the Law Commission find that the time has come to make a clean break from the past.
The recommendation, however, was not unanimous. Two government representatives in the panel submitted dissent notes against the recommendation to abolish death penalty. The third dissent note was given by full-time member and former Delhi High Court Judge Justice Usha Mehra, who referred to the rights of innocent victims. She said, and I quote, "Recommending blanket abolition of death sentence or moratorium on death penalty in heinous crimes is not an appropriate course, particularly keeping in view the circumstances prevailing in our country." The debate on right to life versus right to justice is a complex issue on which the society is deeply divided. The most recent example being the deep divide during the execution of 1993 Mumbai blast accused Yaqub Memon. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time now for a short break, but still to come, 53 infant deaths at Odisha's leading hospital in the past 11 days. That and much more on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. The Queen of the Arabian Sea, all set to get another feather in its cap.
We're going to talk about Cochin's metro project.
We'll take you behind the scenes to get a closer look.
These all pier and all superstructure stands on the piles.
The clock never stops here at the Kochi metro. In fact, they keep working 24/7.
Watch our special report, putting Kochi on track, only on Rajya Sabha television. Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, French Defense Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian will be in India during which the government-to-government framework agreement for 36 Rafale fighter jets is likely to be signed. The signing of the agreement will pave the way for inking the final contract for purchase of the fighter jets. Le Drian will meet the top leadership over the issue. The visit comes as talks between the two sides remain deadlocked over technicalities. Chief among the problem areas is India's insistence of 50% offset clause, tweaking of weaponry technology and plans to set up two bases for Rafale fighter jets. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had announced the decision to acquire the jets for the Indian Air Force during his trip to France in April. Well, the stalemate over one rank, one pension issue continues as Finance Minister Arun Jaitley completely ruled out the annual revision of pension as demanded by agitating ex-servicemen. However, he said that the government will safeguard interests of soldiers retiring at an early age through higher pensions. Here's more.
It's been close to 3 months now since the veterans been agitating, seeking faster implementation of the one rank, one pension. Despite several rounds of talks, there is no solution in sight. Instead, the government has toughened its stance on the veterans' demand for an annual revision of pension. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley justified the government's decision, saying such revision in pensions does not happen anywhere in the world. Jaitley assured the agitating ex-servicemen under one rank, one pension that the government is committed to safeguarding their interests. He said the only difficulty was arising at the stage of arithmetical translation of the scheme. Jaitley said making unreasonable concessions will only set a precedent for others to seek similar benefits. The government, however, is willing to offer higher pensions for soldiers retiring at an early age, but not revise it every year. Meanwhile, despite 6 veterans on hunger strike being hospitalized, the protests continue at the Jantar Mantar. Opposition too questioned the government's intent on resolving the stalemate.
हमारे देश को किसी की बुरी आंख न लगे, ये हम कहा करते थे। आज हमारी सरकार ने हमारे ऊपर बुरी आंख लगा दी है। बेचारा बहुत दुखी है, हमें आंखों में आंसू आते हैं।
Window is very narrow, and I do not think this government will be sincere and committed to the issue of one rank, one pension, and now they may take excuse of bigger elections, model code of conduct coming into effect.
देखिए, सरकार ने, प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा था कि अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं, उनके अच्छे दिन आ गए, अब उन्हें बाकी किसी की परवाह नहीं है।
The protests have now entered its 78th day, with many more lending their voice to the veterans' demands. On Monday, former BJP leader Ram Jethmalani also joined the protest and backed their demands. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the flood situation in Assam is grim, with 3 more people losing their lives. With this, the current deluge has claimed 18 lives in the current wave of floods, while the toll in this year's 2 waves of flood rose to 23 in the state. Over 7.5 lakh people in nearly 1,600 villages have been affected due to non-stop rains across the state. The worst hit was Dhemaji district, with over 3.4 lakh people suffering due to the flood, followed by Lakhimpur with more than 70,000 people being affected. Nearly 1.2 lakh hectares of cropland is also underwater. Authorities have opened 168 relief camps in various places where more than 51,000 people have taken shelter. The Brahmaputra is flowing above the danger marks at Dibrugarh town, Nemti Ghat in Jorhat district, Tezpur in Sonitpur and Dhubri town. And 53 babies have died over the past 11 days at a state government-run hospital in Cuttack. A central investigating team has submitted its report to the Health Ministry on Monday, highlighting severe infrastructural lapses, staff shortage and hygiene issues as contributory factors for the deaths.
"53 infants have died over the last 11 days at the Shishu Bhavan Hospital in Odisha's Cuttack district. State Health Minister paid a surprise visit to the hospital on Sunday night after angry parents accused the hospital of negligence. The centre and the state governments have ordered inquiries against the biggest pediatric hospital in eastern India, which receives more than 300 patients on an average every day.
आमे 98 डॉक्टर सेठी काम करूचंती 100 स्टाफ नर्स 4 दिन तळे आमे 4 मास तळे एठी दिया जाईची ता सत्य मध्ये डॉक्टरंकर आवश्यकता अछि 15 जण जो पदवी खाली पडिची एठी कोर्ट रे मामला थिला ताको आमे करि परबो एबे फ्री हेची एबे रिक्रूटमेंट प्रोसेस मध्ये स्टार्ट हलानी पीएससी करिवो
some lacunas are there, some immediate crisis management has to be there. Government of India extended its helping hand. We took responsibility to add on some medical doctors, paramedical staff, some laboratory equipments. We are ready to exchange our cooperation.
Opposition Congress has said poor conditions at the Shishu Bhavan has forced poor patients to seek medical help at private institutions which are unaffordable.
The way the things are being managed by the health department, the government of Odisha, it looks as if the private interest is working there. And people are forced to go to the private nursing homes.
While the political blame game continues, as per a health department report, as many as 5,900 infants have died while undergoing treatment in the hospital between 2010 and 2015. This includes 407 infant deaths in the past 3 months. Against a sanctioned strength of 48 doctors, Shishu Bhavan has been manned by less than half the strength of 20 doctors for several years now. The infant mortality rate in Odisha is 51 as against the national average of 40. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, let's now get you some news from Ukraine, even as we speak right now. This is some international news that we are tracking at the moment. One police officer was killed and more than 100 injured in violent protests outside Ukraine's parliament on Monday. Clashes between protesters and erupted as lawmakers voted on a bill for constitutional changes, giving eastern regions more autonomous rights. According to the police, some people in the crowd hurled grenades at security officers outside parliament. President Petro Poroshenko condemned the violence, saying it was a stab in the back of the government. Around 30 people have been detained for Monday's violence. The protests were led by the Populist Radical Party and the Ultra-Nationalist Freedom Party, who oppose any concession to the Russian-backed separatists. Here's a roundup of some international news in World Wrap. US Secretary of State John Kerry has called climate change a seismic challenge, comparing the danger it poses to the threat humanity faced from World War II. Addressing an international conference on climate change in Alaska, Kerry also called for increased global cooperation to curb the causes of global warming. Iraq has retaken the desert area west of Samarra, 100 kilometers north of Baghdad, from Islamic State. The Iraqi government confirmed that the troops have chased out militants and destroyed booby-trapped vehicles, military hardware and large quantities of weapons. The operation was part of a wider assault to recapture all the remaining parts of Salahuddin province and then move down to recapture Anbar. A memorial for 71 refugees who were found dead last week in an abandoned truck on a highway in Austria was held in Vienna. Several government ministers, including the Austrian Prime Minister, attended the ceremony along with several hundred citizens. The refugees had suffocated to death in a crammed truck traveling from Hungary to Austria, fleeing from war and poverty. Arrests have been made in Hungary in connection with the tragedy. Moving on to some sports news now. India are eyeing victory in the third and final test at Colombo. India needs 7 wickets to claim victory in the 3-match test series and register their first test series win in Lanka in 22 years. Host Sri Lanka lost 3 early wickets in their second innings while chasing the target of 386 runs. They were 67 for 3 in their second innings at close on the 4th day. Angelo Matthews and Kaushal Silva were at the crease when stumps were drawn. For India, Ishant Sharma picked 2 wickets while Umesh Yadav claimed 1. The hosts now need 319 runs to win the deciding tie, as both the teams are level at 1 apiece. Earlier, Indian batsmen put up a strong resistance against the Lankan bowlers and managed to score 274 runs in the second innings. Rohit Sharma and Ravichandran Ashwin scored half-centuries, while Stuart Binney missed the mark by 1 run. For Lanka, Prasad and Pradeep took 4 wickets each. India now have the whole of the 5th day to claim the remaining 7 wickets to win the match.
Going into the 5th day, obviously it will assist spinners a little bit, but our fast bowlers have been doing the job for us in this game. They bowled really well, so yeah, I expect nothing but to come out and give the same effort as we did in the first inning.
Some more sports news now. The opening day of the US Open saw some major upsets as last year's runner-up, Japan's Kei Nishikori, saw an early exit, while former world number 1 Serbia's Ana Ivanovic failed to move to the next round in the women's category. In other matches, the top seeds, including defending champions Marin Cilic and Serena Williams, sailed through to the next round after claiming easy wins. Here's a review of day 1 at Flushing Meadows.
The opening day of the US Open saw some major upsets as many top-seeded players were knocked out of the first round at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. Former world number 1 Ana Ivanovic was the first major casualty as the Serbian 7th seed lost 6-3, 3-6, 6-3 to Dominika Sivulkova in the opening match. Japan's Kei Nishikori soon followed her as he lost to Frenchman Benoit Paire. Last year's runner-up 4th-seeded Nishikori lost 6-4, 3-6, 4-6, 7-6, 6-4 in a tightly contested match that lasted for 3 hours and 14 minutes. Top seeds including Novak Djokovic and Serena Williams started their US Open campaign on a winning note. Djokovic made easy progress, defeating Brazil's João Sousa 6-1, 6-1, 6-1 in straight sets to reach the second round. In women's singles, defending champion and world number 1 Serena Williams, hoping to become the first woman in 27 years to win the calendar Grand Slam, won her first match in 21 minutes of playing time. She defeated Vitalia Derchenko 6-2, 2-0, who was struggling with injury before retiring after losing her 8th straight game.
Thank you so much. It's been really amazing. I can feel the support and the love on my journey and this milestone that I'm, trying to take one match at a time. So I love you and I appreciate all the support. So thank you so much.
Defending champion Marin Cilic, who overpowered Nishikori in straight sets in last year's finals, also advanced to the next round. Cilic defeated Argentine Guro Pella 6-3, 7-6, 7-6. The 9-seeded Cilic registered 13 aces and 7 service winners in dismissing the 94th ranked Pella in a 2-hour match. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a nice day.